that 100%.
Yeah,
And what we were
every day.
what we were talking about a little bit, Brian, was just the, the historical perspective of Thanksgiving, and and the there's a little negative connotation attached to it as far as the Indians and that and their story. And so you might have seen Friendsgiving discussed amongst people. And, because of that meaning of the past, people are elevating to something a bit different. But as you're saying, it's all about the positive uh, understanding of it. It's about doing and being thankful every day. I agree with that 100%.
That's right. I agree with that.
It
I
does,
agree.
just like Mother's Day and if people who are Christians, don't let Christmas be the only day that you think about God and Christ, and that should be one's everyday existence, um, prayerful every day. And so that's what the paganism is, Wanda,
What?
is is worship. It's like a worship of something that's man-made. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and
That's what that meant.
like the commercialism of the gifts, and this is not what the intention was as well.
Right.
Even though in the English culture it was, because it lured children and it was really perverted. And so we have to know that different cultures do different things, and it might be similarities to uh uh how people practice, and it could be this meaning in this culture. And then just like Halloween is so negative to me. I've never practiced Halloween once I became a parent.
Okay.
And uh, just like John was saying, sometimes you wind up in the line, because it's there. And
Yep.
so I've had moments like that. I don't want to spoil everybody's day, but when you think about what the history behind it is, none of us should be practicing Halloween. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the way I now because the building that I'm in, I'm over in the park, and I did not like seeing these goblins and witches hanging from the rafter for our children, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I called over to the Mexican Fine Arts Center to see how they would practice Halloween. And they said, we don't.
Mm.
They honor the Day of the Dead. And so when you see that they dress up like skeletons, and that's not a morbid thing. That is them honoring their ancestors, the bones of their ancestors, which is a much more beautiful understanding, right? And so our children wind up practicing and worshiping demons. And it's like, how did we get there? So next Halloween we'll have that show on.
That discussion.
Right,
That
right.
discussion.
So that's what, taking holidays and giving it the wrong kind of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And everything is really energy. And so how we show our connection to something, it comes back, So if we're doing it in love, and that's why I sit right with the turkey when my mom used to cook. I used to have my children right there in front of the turkey, even though we were vegetarians, right? They would always prepare meals for us that didn't make sure we didn't have meat. But because it was family, I knew, and I didn't waste my time saying, "Hey, y'all know we gonna eat," but the Indians got killed on this day, so let's bless the food.
All right.
Now I've never done that, but so it's all about family, it's all about love. And when we can rise above that, and then hopefully, it snaps some love into these young people's hearts where they know it's time to cut out the nonsense in the street because
Yeah.
we get a bad reputation here.
Welcome to the show, Sandra. Thanks, Lavette. I appreciate that summary. That's really great. It was Sandra's idea to talk about Thanksgiving. And so I want this young lady to give us her interpretation of Thanksgiving. Hi, Sandra.
Good evening. Hi, everyone.
Where TJ? Where TJ?
Okay, I've been really busy preparing some of the like what Lavette was just saying, making sure everybody else can do that feast or with that turkey and all the other things that they have on the menu. I can tell you one thing about I heard her talking about paganism and the way they worship and they change the meaning of these days. I
Yes.
was thinking she called it paganism. I think of it as commercialism, where they over commercialize
Yeah.
the days until it gets to the point where people are often suffering anxiety. I mean, even those who do not suffer from anxiety, there's always some anxiety, some weird expectations. And Thanksgiving, from what I've known as a kid to what I've seen as a mature adult, I've seen it change. And I'm happy to kind of see it this year come back after COVID. I do see people being more grateful to be able to gather with their friends and family than pre-COVID, when again everything was just so commercialized. It was almost like a contest to see who could outdo, and whose menu was going to go from something meaningful to something just outlandish. Just absolutely totally unnecessary. I've heard of people having like 5 and 6 meats and all the sides. I mean,
Oh,
they had
yeah.
enough stuff that where they could feed people for a month. And then they have these used to have these shows on television, because I kind of miss Lou Rawls and others, because around these times they used to always have people talk about giving, because we're getting toward the end of the year.
Right.
And this is when the nonprofits really need their money. And this is and they also try to take the year out with a bang, or at least get rid of the deficit, so then whatever deficit they have, that they're not carrying it into the next year. And they always kind of looked at Thanksgiving as well as Christmas, or that period between Thanksgiving and Christmas, as being a time when people were generous and they were willing to donate. And actually, the donations were getting smaller, but yet you saw the Christmas trees and the gifts and the grocery list and the menu, they were getting larger, So they were getting away from giving. So, like I said, it was some kind of weird, bizarre
Transition.
competition.
They went to a transition.
Yeah. So now I've heard a lot of people, when we've asked some other folks here, what are you guys doing? And even some of I'm really impressed with the young folks, because they're looking forward to getting together to see cousins that they haven't seen in the last 2 years, or to see the entire family, because like with our family, we're so large. We had, like, I guess you would say, little clans, well, that we met with, those who we knew that were in compliance and weren't doing crazy stuff and went out there just being defiant when it came to what the CDC was saying. We would meet with some of those, and even before they put out the testing, to make sure, was it safe to meet with you. I can say now a lot of folks, they're still going to be meeting, and I'm telling you, the younger people are much smarter than these older folks, because the younger people are now telling me, well, yeah, I got my booster, but I'm taking my mask and I've got me some hand sanitizer. It's funny to see them go into their book bags, because everybody carries a book bag or a purse now, or a man bag, okay?
Right.
And so they come out their bags with their hand sanitizers and their extra masks. And you're like, what? You carrying this around with you everywhere you go? Yeah, you got to be safe. But they're looking forward to actually getting together now, opposed to just talking about the menu. They really want to see the people. And
Right.
for that, I've actually enjoyed it. And I can tell you, not just Black folks either, not just folks in my family, because we've been at a couple of places where we were waiting, and then the other folks are saying, "Well, yeah, I can't wait to get together too," and I can't wait to see my so and so and so and so because we didn't get a chance to see each other since 2019. And they're saying, "I don't even care if we don't really have anything to eat. I'm good if they just want to make a sandwich or something," because again, no family seems to have cooks anymore. I know a couple of mine have moved out of state, and a whole lot of them have transitioned. They moved on, but we still got a few left. But it's not even now about having those extravagant dinners and extravagant spread. They're really talking about getting together, playing some games. And I forgot the name of the game that we're going to be playing. It's we heard about it in Arkansas. Jill bought it, but everybody's waiting to get together so they can actually do something and enjoy each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
so it's nice to see that and hear that. And again, go back to what the original meaning of Thanksgiving was. It was where we should be thankful. And again, I heard someone say a minute ago where the I think Levette said it, where the Native Americans were killed after the dinner or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, we're not doing that part, but just getting together and being thankful because again, they are genuinely glad to be together. I mean, we just heard about a terrible mass shooting. That's why I was kind of late because I was
Where?
running my mouth last night. Oh, last night at the Walmart in Chesapeake, Virginia. A manager came in at the store, went to the break room, shot and killed 6 people. And I think someone else said there were about 6 more folks injured. Then he turned the gun on himself because
Oh God.
the police there discovered him dead. And then, they just had that shooting a couple of days ago in Colorado, where they've got that guy. I mean, when you have, I think with the COVID, I mean, we've always had people who left our lives suddenly. I mean, and the family's always devastated immediately after, and the holidays always brings back the last time you were together. But I think we've gone through so much with COVID, the Ukrainian war. We've got because Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and now we've had all these crazy shootings. I mean, you can't go to the grocery store now without going locked and loaded, or just being very aware of what's going on. Be very aware of your surroundings. So to actually be able to get together, uh, thank God for bringing you through this challenging year, and also thanking God for having your family members safe, intact, and your loved ones, and also being appreciative to be able to get together, even when you are missing a few at the table. I
Right.
think with all of this going on, it started to make people come away from the commercial things, the
Mm-hmm.
materialistic things, and go back to just loving and respecting and being grateful and appreciative of each other. All
Right.
families are dysfunctional.
Yep.
There is not one. But anybody tells you that their family is not dysfunctional, they're a damn lie. Or they don't interact with their family.
Now, Miss Sandra, you're right.
Or they don't interact with their family. Then you don't see, you have to be close to people in order to disagree with them, or for them to be comfortable, for you to be comfortable to disagree with them. And that's what family is about. And and I agree. I think Levette might have said something, or maybe I heard it earlier. Family doesn't mean the people necessarily that you share the same DNA with.
Come on now. I heard that earlier today, didn't I? Somebody. Yes.
Yeah,
It don't have to be the same people you share the DNA with.
no, you don't. And I think that's the thing that makes it even more appreciative, that when maybe the people that you share DNA with, maybe at this time, because everybody has their season and their reason for being in your life, and
Right.
maybe that season has passed and there hasn't been another reason yet for you all to be that active in each other's life.
Just
But
let me
thank
see.
God there's somebody else that you can relate to who appreciates you and you appreciate them. So it's a lot to be thankful for, not just on
Absolutely.
the fourth Thursday of November, but I think we should be thankful every day.
That's right.
Um, and be able to reflect on. I think this is a time for reflection as we close out this year and we embark on a new year. What do we want to do better next year than
Yes.
what we did this year?
Now um, that's a good segue into, next year. What are we thinking about doing as individuals and as a collective? The collective being Black people, being, we know that all these systems have been set up to challenge us. So we have to begin to think about how we're going to meet the challenge, surpass the challenge, do what we need to do to bring about the kind of reality we want to see in all categories: politics, economics, housing. I mean, there were judges on that ballot. I was looking at, I was like, I don't know this person. But you need to make a selection.
And you know what also, Wanda?
Because if you don't, you have made a selection.
And I think that, that's something I would like to maybe do with project development, your committee, is have some forums on judges and who's who, and have pictures and a one pager of, how they vote, and just really start to, and then go through all of them. So whenever there's, because they're jockeying for position right now. Burke just stepped down, and guess what? There's going to be an appointment. Now, why didn't she step down so that somebody could run? And so that's the game they play. They step down so one of their own can get in, because it's going to be an appointment. And so that's the narrative that we got to really stop, because just like the Cook County Board, and the Cook County Clerk's Office, even though it was Dorothy Brown that stepped down, it was an appointment made. Then, and so if we keep getting appointed people, then this is not organic of the people putting them in office.
Right.
And so,
that's right.
And that goes across the board almost in everything. And so we've got to, because that creates policy, and the policy makers are starting not to look like us. And so then when their policy is favored toward others, that's the way the ball game is. And so if we're not putting people in and then checking them to make sure that and checking ourselves to make sure that they have the policy in front of them. Because if we're not creating policy, the things that we talk about and how we want it and how we think it should be and what it should be, we've got a lot of opinionated people here. And so we also can create position papers.
That's right.
And so these are the people that just like the judgeship, you get these meetings going and you get 20 people at each meeting. And at the end of that, you've got 500 people that attended these meetings that understand these judges and able to then go out to 5,000 more people and say, look, this is what I found out, and we've got to have some kind of system where we're not just beating our heads up against the wall because you're the only one. Now, I really understand Jesus carrying that burden, right? Because the burden is not meant for us. We have to release the burden on the God within and go free, because the burden is so heavy for just a few of us to be digesting this, that we've got to have some kind of methodology to get this up off of our backs so that just like a TJ or Alexandra that I work with, Ezekiel that I work with. These young people have got to be the water barriers. And so, but we got to give it to them where, you know, it matters. So anyway,
we got TJ Lebet.
Oh,
TJ is on the lair. John, you don't know TJ. You got to meet him. TJ is our young high school leader. And he is Sandra's grandson. And Sandra, I see your hand is up. I just want to introduce TJ and then we'll come to you. TJ, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thank you guys for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on. And we were talking about Thanksgiving. I know you're going to do some research for us, and maybe you can give us your explanation of it. Let me see what your grandma wants first. Yes, Sandra.
Oh, excuse me. I was just going to respond to something Levette was saying about the judges.
Okay.
I hate to say, but I was one of the people that did elect Ann Burke. I mean, I don't hate to say it. I have no regrets of electing her. What I can say and what I continue to say, Black folks have got to get involved. And I don't know what's been going on with some of these other folks, but I knew 4 of those judges very well. And I can tell you 2 of them have been in, well, 3, including Timothy Evans, has been around it a very long time. Ann Burke announced last year, before this time, that she was stepping down this year at this time. So I'm not really sure why some people, and it was on the news. I had heard about it before, like I heard about something the other week. I said to Margot, I heard about it, but I heard it and then it came right out. It came to fruition. But I'm saying this was announced. It was all on the news and everywhere else. Now, when it comes to the other judges that are on there, especially the ones that are on there that were for juvenile court, Tim Evans and whatnot, Sophia Hall, there is information that is put out. Maybe, hopefully, going forward, what can probably happen is, again, like you invited State Representative Evans. Jones. Jones. You invited him on board. These judges are available sometime because a couple of them I've actually worked with on different community things that we've done, but you got to be doing some stuff. And like
I did invite one judge, and I sort of lost track of her because it was as though she almost committed, but I think it was her, maybe not recognizing our media platform as
right. Maybe so.
And so, but anyway, those judges that you just mentioned, I was aware of those. The scary part was all the other 80% of judges.
Well, right? And I'm only saying it because I was telling somebody, because I made the comment too, because there were so many, but 2 or 3 of them I kind of had met at an event or something, but didn't know them well enough to say, okay, you've been a judge, you've been a great judge, let's keep you. I agree. We need to have a way where, again, at least they put the information out. And I guess we have to start that and do something on a continuum. The problem, I can tell you, when I met the other judges, I was on juvenile court diversion, which is done by Northwestern. What I can tell you, one of the other big problems that is happening now, the aldermen here ain't jack, but y'all keep voting them in. I mean, I was gone for a minute and I came back and there was a bunch of stuff. I thought the people that they replaced were kind of sorry because they had gotten lazy and gotten tired. But I'm seeing these new aldermen, and I mean, it's just unreal that these people are being elected in. And even though the numbers are super, super, super low, it doesn't matter because they still wind up being your alderman for 4 years. And again, it's going to be a time for election of all these folks is coming up again. And unless you put the right person in place to begin with, meaning that the lowest level for us is going to be our alderman.
Right.
The alderman is the lowest level for us.
I want to say real quick, because I know I would really love to hear TJ, but just based
Yeah,
on
I'm gonna
the
stop too. Yeah, so he can go
right,
and say his
but
little
just
piece. Yeah.
based on that aldermanic comment on election day, when the alderman's uh, precinct captain gave me his ballot choice, I said to him, because he also had petitions for him, and I said to him, because he's given me a ballot that doesn't have any choice of judges, you let him know he does not have my vote. So I agree with you. And that was the kicker for me,
Yep.
because that's their duty. And
Yep.
when I saw that had not one choice of, I was so ticked. But anyway, go ahead, TJ, because I see you being the one probably bringing these judges to the table.
Yes, DJ. Come
Well, I
on,
want to say,
DJ.
with regard to the Thanksgiving portion, uh, and you see it now in mass media, what Thanksgiving means to a number of people. And it doesn't mean the same thing to Black people or people of color. It means something completely different. And even the way that it's celebrated, the way that is in our culture, the things we eat, the things we are giving thanks for is completely different. And it comes from a place of almost like really a place of suffering and overcoming. And a lot of, even with terms of Thanksgiving meals, you see a lot of Thanksgiving meals in a lot of neighborhoods of color at one point came from churches or places of religious worship, because it was not a holiday that we celebrated as, being proud to be Americans, but we were proud to be free, or glad to be free, or glad to be in a better situation than our forefathers and foremothers. Now, with regard to politicians, even within the city of Chicago, one thing that we have to always be aware of is that uh, Chicago is the only major city in which our politicians don't have a policy in place to recall them. The mayor will serve a 4-year term and can only be voted out by and actually no, there's no impeachment policy either, meaning that you can serve and you can do all you want to do. You just have to wait until the election to vote them out. They can't be impeached. They can't be recalled. There's no legislation in place to ensure that these politicians are having checks and balances with regard to the citizens checking them during their terms. So that is one major concern. But back to the point, I just wanted to address that. Thanksgiving, as it's known, Pilgrims and Native Americans, and that whole, conversation that we've had, it's not the same thing. It doesn't mean the same thing that we see, or it's tried to that's sold on us. It means something completely different, considering that we're seeing it from a different point of view. Black people, the majority of Black people are actually have a lot of indigenous blood in them, or of huge mixed culture, considering containing Black or African descent, and then Native Americans. So it's just a different story, or different meaning, or different way of purporting that to us as a people. And we have to really be conscious on what we accept to be true, or what we accept to be the fact in our lives, because it really will impact how we see things going forward, especially with holidays. Of course, we can celebrate Thanksgiving for what it means, but we have to be vigilant and very on our toes about what we do going forward in a nation like now, where people are talking about, it was in our state that they said it, people talking about taking this country back, or restoring white heritage, or how there's this fake ideology of reverse racism, which is not a thing, but was racism where you can discriminate against a majority, which is not possible. But you'd have to really be careful in these times when you try to indoctrinate yourself into a culture that is larger than yourself, that you don't really understand, which is a lot of holiday cultures that are sold. We're really, and my grandmother loves to say it because she doesn't like this, capitalistic holiday sense that we have in this country, where every holiday you have to capitalize off of, especially Christmas. She hates these Christmas capitalism. So you really have to be careful when you see things like that.
Thank you. Whoa, now wasn't that just so intellectual, ladies and gentlemen? John, that's our young brother, John and Brian. That's our young brother, and it's just, I just love hearing his perspective on whatever topics we happen to talk about. because I mean, just listen. He's going to be tomorrow's president.
Can I say how important that was? Because, you know, his perspective really opened my mind to something. And that is Black culture.
Yes.
He specified that just perfectly, because everything that we've done as a unit has been created to embrace our love. And so I do agree with him. And that's why I said, even though for the historical perspective in America of what Thanksgiving is, I was always at the table with my family because it was about the love of our family, and it was about what we did as a family. And so, because we didn't talk about the Indians, we didn't talk about America, you know, we just got together, we ate, we played cards, we listened to music, we had fun until the night. And so that was our way of coming together as family. So I appreciate that perspective.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, unless someone else has a new perspective or would like to add to a perspective that's been spoken of this evening, we're going to end this show. And I would just love to invite all of you back again, because, you know, your perspectives, they are going to lead the world. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Let's talk. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're at the
Thank you.
of our show.
Thank you, guys. Have a safe and
Have a
enjoy
great
this holiday.
holiday. Yes. Bye-bye.
Same to you all.
Good night.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Good night.